7:14, welcome back. With the 2026 tax season less than 2 weeks away, it is important to start gathering your tax documents. The IRS reminds taxpayers that its online tools can help you check for your refunds, make payments, also review forms. So this morning, we've got certified financial planner Derrick Williams in to talk about some tips to make it easier for you to file, also to get the biggest return possible. Good morning to you, good
morning.
sir. So how do I start to get the best return possible?
I think one of the biggest things is just starting to gather documents. So if you're an independent contractor, making sure you're getting your 1099s from all your places, getting your W-2s in order. One of the big tax changes is, if you bought a car last year, you're able to deduct that interest, so getting information on that. Of course, we've got changes to overtime and tips, so making sure you've got all those documents, together, ready to, file, as quick as possible and hopefully as accurately as possible as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of changes there, but let's talk about the tips and taxing there. It's referred to as no tax on tips, but you say it's actually not the case. You got to read the fine print.
Yeah, it's labeled as no tax on tips or overtime. So yeah, if you have tips, you're able to deduct 25,000 of that. If you made up to 75,000 a single or 150,000 as a joint tax preparer, and then same thing on the overtime side, up to 75,000 single, up to 150,000 if you file jointly, and you're able to deduct 12,500 of the overtime. So it's not a true no tax. There's still going to be a tax break for some individuals. And then also switching to seniors as well, they're going to get an extra deduction as long as they didn't have income over 150,000. They're going to get an extra $6,000 deduction. So a lot of people hear this as no tax on Social Security, no tax on tips or overtime, but just want to reiterate that it's not a true no tax, but it is going to definitely, help bring some of those tax burden downs for individuals filing for this year.
Sure, those details matter. Also hearing from the government, which is encouraging people to do most of their work for filing, if not all of it, online. They've got the site where you can do so. I think we've got it. You can pull it up right here, get your questions answered. You can file your taxes and whatnot. Talk to me about this overall move to be essentially paperless for the IRS.
Yeah, so the IRS is really pushing more of this digital world. I know not immediately, but they're looking to phase out checks being paid to people for refunds, as well as people mailing in checks. So what they'd like to do is have people set up a bank account. That way, if you have a refund, you can direct deposit, as well as if you do have a payment, you're able to just go in online and pay it. And one thing I want to just point out, so if you've made less than 89,000 last year, you're able to actually go in and file for free directly through the IRS. So that is one benefit that is still around.
Now, when we talk about filing online, also I would imagine be careful of your information that's out there that could in fact be stolen.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the biggest tips I'm telling people is always be on alert for emails and texts. One thing I always tell clients is the IRS is never going to text you and say, hey Brandon, you owe $10,000, send a check in. They're never going to communicate via text. So always go to the IRS website and double check, okay, do I actually owe money? And double checking with the state, do I owe them money? But be careful of emails as well, because people will send it and it'll look really close to what an IRS website will look like. So just always double check that. But again, they're not going to send you a, hey, send money in 10 days. That's often one of the more popular scams that'll get people around this time. So definitely be cognizant of that.
That's why that digital portal we just showed you is important. But as we look at the IRS, which has been in the news with the Trump administration, particularly last year, and the reduction in workforce, there are questions this year as to whether people will get their refunds on time. So what should I do if I'm watching this and I'm worried?
If you're worried, I would look at filing as soon as possible. If you think if you're looking for that refund and you're going to get one and it's a little bit more time sensitive, I would look at filing the first day, which January 26th is the first day that you can file, because there was a reduction in the IRS last year, and so this digital push is supposedly supposed to help with that, and they've reiterated that they're prepared for those changes that went into effect last year, which is the deductions for seniors, the overtime, and the tips. So they're prepared for that, but definitely lean on maybe the earlier side, because again, with that reduction, could it be longer into the year that maybe these refunds are being sent out.
All right, Derrick Williams, always appreciate your insight.
Yeah,
good,
thanks
sir.
for having
Good
me.
to see you. Again, tax season, as Derrick mentioned, it opens on January 26th. That's the first day the IRS will accept and process your 2025 individual tax returns. The deadline to file and pay taxes, April 15th, as we know. You can apply for an extension, though, and the IRS will not assess a late filing penalty as long as the return is filed by October 15th. So, chop, chop, let's get to it.